Rockets.
Hello and welcome into episode 81 of Two Man Game with Damon and Dom. I'm Damon, that's Dom, and you are the listener. We have done it again. 2 seasons of NBA basketball in the book since we have done this podcast. Very exciting. Please remember, like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave 5 stars, all that good stuff. We have a lot to talk about. Crazy final series went all the way to Game 7. Kevin Durant trade to my Houston Rockets. NBA free agency is already kicking off. The draft is Wednesday. So much going on in the basketball world. But first, and most importantly, Dom, how are you?
Damon, thank you very much for that amazing introduction. As always, I'm doing very well. We had our big show last Friday. We had a new album come out that I'm very proud of. That is out on Bandcamp. It will be out on streaming and Spotify and all that very soon. I was able to sit and watch the entirety of Game 7. I made sure I had nothing else planned during that time. I said, this is for me. And I can't wait to talk about it and get into it. But it did not disappoint. And that's what I'm most happy about this season. This is one of the best NBA seasons I've witnessed, I think. I don't know if you agree, but I think that definitely so much happened. And there was a bit of uncertainty, but also the Thunder won, which I predicted. So you owe me something.
That's
Um,
fair.
No, I'm kidding. No, it's sad. It's bittersweet. I'm sad it's over. But like you said, the draft is coming up. Then we got free agency coming up. Who's the next superstar going to be moved? Where are they going to go? What are my Lakers not going to do? Because they probably won't do anything. We'll find out.
Hey,
But
you
yeah,
just got Luca halfway through the season, okay? What
I
else could
want
you
more. I
want?
want more. I want it all. Um, no, well, I'm excited for all that, and mostly to talk about it with you. It's one of my favorite things. So,
Thank
how are
you.
you doing? How are you doing, Damon?
Yeah, I'm hoping this will turn my Monday around a little bit. As you already know, I had some car troubles on the way to work. Blown completely tire. Heard it pop as I was driving right around the corner down the street from work, and I just kind of rolled on my rim all the way to the finish line because I didn't want to pull over on the side of the road. I was like, well, let me just get it to work. And then during my lunch, I managed to take the tire off, put the spare on. As you know, Austin, Texas, nice 95 degrees the whole time out in the parking lot, sweating profusely. I'm really glad that I always choose to wear an undershirt because I just took off my other shirt and I was like, if my undershirt gets dirty, I'll live. But um, so that was good. Gonna go to a place tomorrow to get a new tire probably. Didn't have
That's
a chance
good.
to do that today.
I'm just glad you're
Aside,
safe because sometimes like pop tires, like you just like your vehicle just veers like
mhm.
wildly across the road. So just glad you're all right.
Yeah, I mean, like the tire was still like functional. You could just feel it kind of like hitting the ground with every roll. But yeah, I
Not
was
fun.
literally like less than 2 minutes away from work, so I was like, I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna get there.
Finish out
Uh,
the route. Yeah, for sure. That makes
if I
sense.
was like 10 minutes away, I would have been like, okay.
Let's
Um,
think about our options. Yeah.
yeah, so I don't know what happened because it was yeah, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Moving on. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to your album. I listened to it, the entire thing. Nice thing I didn't realize with Bandcamp, like a Spotify or whatever, is I could close it and listen to it. It'll still play. I
Oh
was
yeah.
worried that that wasn't going to be the case, so I was glad. I did keep opening it because I was like, "What is this song called?" Because
Oh
it doesn't
yeah.
show you the information. But I was like, "I'm curious what this is called." So
Yeah, no, yeah, we're just trying something different. But yeah, it was so funny. I had to explain Bandcamp to my parents. They're
yeah,
like, "What is this? I have to learn something new now. Is this a new streaming thing?" So, but yeah,
it's actually it's an old streaming thing,
I
really.
know. I was on this before Spotify, like this, because this is a
Yeah.
lot simpler. But no, yeah, I appreciate you listening to it.
I think I first listened to your favorite album, Spirit Phone by Lemon Demon on Bandcamp
Of
before it was on
course,
Spotify.
my favorite. I play it every day, probably. You know what I
Yeah.
definitely do every day?
What's that?
I look at NBA news. That's what I do every day. I look at NBA news.
You actually, I mean, you do. You got the notifications on, so I know that
I
it pops
literally do. Yeah,
up.
because you see when I'll screenshot stuff to you and it says it's the NBA app. And you're like,
Yeah.
I saw this on Twitter 15 minutes ago. I go, oh, okay. Well, NBA just told me. So, did you get an email from Adam Silver?
No. Why
I
did you
got
get an email?
I got an email from Adam Silver. I think he said, "Hey Dom,
Personal to you.
what up?" He goes, "Hey, thanks for sending me $20 to get that Luca trade done." No, it was I think because I'm subscribed to the NBA app. Like it's sent to everyone that's on there. It just said like dear, and it had my full name. It just said thanks for a great NBA season. We saw like the Thunder, a young second youngest team ever to win the NBA championship. It's just a lot of like recapping the season and just thanking me personally. And I wanted to say you're well. I want to say thank you, Adam Silver. Thank you.
Yeah, I hear he types those individually, one by one, no copy and pasting, just
Yeah, because he doesn't know how to copy and paste. He's like 85. He's like, I don't. What is copy and paste? I just type the whole thing every time.
he actually
Um,
handwritten letter right to
yeah,
your
I
address.
was like, oh my God, it's like dripping wet. It's like there's like ink all over. It's like quills and everything. No, hey, Adam Silver, friend of the pod, we love you. Come to the show. Come on the
Come
show.
to be our second guest.
Come on, behind
I guess our
Jared
third guest if you count Junior.
Junior. I
Um,
guess we count Junior. Yeah, but yeah, there's a lot of news to get into, shall we?
let's do it. Let's do it.
Cool. So Pat Connaughton accepted his $9.4 million player option to stay with the Bucks next season. No surprise, he probably would, if he denied it, would probably get less than that.
Yeah, I
So
read
that
this
makes
and I was like, man, the Bucks are screwed, huh?
yeah.
They're paying guys like Pat Connaughton $9 billion. It's over.
It's interesting because I feel like, maybe, I don't know if this happens, but what happens sometimes in the NBA is, so Damian Lillard is out. He probably won't play this season or a lot later. So sometimes players will take a minimum or just something less to help the team out. Glad to see Pat Connaughton not
Just give
doing
me my
that.
money.
Just like, because here's the thing, like it's not like he had that much. It's not like he ever got 25 million a year. Like he probably was always been around this. So he's
Right,
like,
right, right.
I like, look, I would, but I need 9.4 million. I live a very lavish lifestyle. So that's
Shout
just
out to
me.
Pat Connaughton.
Shout out. Get your
Drafted
money, King.
in the first round in the MLB also the same year.
In the MLB?
Yeah, he was that good to be drafted in the first round of the MLB draft and the NBA draft, and he decided to go NBA.
Oh, what the interesting. Was he drafted to the Bucks?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's been his whole career
As a
there, as far as I
lifer.
know.
Here, I can look it up.
Um,
Unless
yeah,
you're
while you're
doing
doing
it
that,
because you're so smart.
I will say that Chris Middleton, former Buck legend, still a Bucks legend,
Still.
Cash Money, accepted his $33.3 million player option to stay with the Wizards next season. Also, not too surprising, because I feel like the Wizards aren't going to pay anybody next season. Um, so why would he not? I guess the only, argument is since he's kind of older, maybe securing like a 2 or 3 year deal would could be better, depending on
Hmm.
how this year goes for him. But it's whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think as a player his caliber, like, and with the injury things, like, I'm sure just opting in is fine. And there's like you said, like, I think Jordan Poole, I was gonna say Jordan Peele, shout out, but not who I was talking about. Jordan Poole probably is the only other player that's earning like it's not a max, but he's
Right,
on.
but up there in the money
Up there,
department.
like
Yeah.
30-ish million. Actually, Pat Connaughton was drafted by the Brooklyn Nets, but his draft rights got, along with Mason Plumlee, were traded to the Blazers. So he was on the Blazers for his first 3 years. Then he went to the Bucks since
Well,
20,
I didn't watch the Blazers in 20,
I,
what is this, like 2014? Yeah,
2015, 2015,
yeah, I
2018.
didn't
Yeah,
I'm not watching
no.
the Blazers.
Yeah, no, neither.
Actually, I feel like I may have watched one of those teams went to like the conference finals. I don't He probably didn't play.
That was,
Um,
are you talking about when they, with Paul, against Paul George? That was 2019.
okay, so
Yeah, he was already
maybe he was
gone.
gone by then. Also, I
Yeah.
misspoke. He was drafted in the fourth round of the MLB. Still difficult
Oh,
because MLB has like 7 rounds or something like
oh,
that. So
gotcha. Oh, also, he was drafted in the second round of the NBA, but neither here nor there.
yeah,
It's still crazy to be in both. That's actually blowing my
To be
mind.
a multi-sport athlete is
Yeah,
impressive.
like, yeah, very impressive. Former Kings GM Monte McNair is joining the Clippers front office as an advisor. Why do you want to? I mean, the Clippers are already ruined. You're not going to help. You don't need to ruin them too.
Shout out Monty McNair for getting a job. Um,
I'm kidding. I don't know enough about like
I
what
don't
he's
know what
done, but
advisors do. So,
just like, hey, should we get this guy? Like, sure. I don't know,
isn't that
you
what you
know.
have a GM for?
Yeah, so he's
The
just an
GM just
advisor
asks you,
to
like, "Hey, tell me how to do my job." And he's like,
what up. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's always good to have like people get advice, like
"Sure,
trusted
sure."
experts. So maybe he's just going to be like one of those people. But like
Isn't Jeff still over there? Jeff Van
Jeff,
Gundy? Isn't he an assistant coach over there this
he's
year?
an assistant head coach, but he's not like in the front office. He's assistant head
Yeah.
coach.
I
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
like the
for
last
sure.
Jeff, though. He'll just
Come
be one
on,
of those
Jeff.
guys.
Jeff, come back to commentating. We miss you, buddy. We miss your complaining too.
Oh,
Come
we should
on.
talk about commentating. I'm gonna put a
We
note. I'm gonna
gotta
put
we
a
gotta add that to
I'm
the
gonna put a note
notes.
for that later.
Yeah, definitely. I 100% agree with you. Um,
Jesus Christ. I'm glad you reminded me.
congrats, Monty McNair. There you go.
Anyways,
Yeah.
Nuggets. I'm not gonna get into it. They promoted a guy to be their vice president of basketball operations, and they hired a guy from the Wolves to be their vice president of player personnel. That is their new combined GM ordeal.
Ah, interesting.
Doesn't matter who they are. Don't care about them. I just wanted to mention that they have figured it out on the podcast, and now we don't have to talk about it anymore.
We'll find out if they figured it out. You know what I mean? Well, I get, I see what you mean, like because they let him go, so they figured out. But
They
now
they
I'm
have
wondering
they
how they're
have
gonna,
replaced a general manager position with two other people.
right. And now I'm curious
Who
how
the
they will
people
figure
are,
out that
don't care.
roster. Yeah, I've never heard these names before. Shout out Ben Tinzer and John Wallace with no H. No H in John. Very
Or
specific.
Wallace.
Or yeah, honestly, no H's in any of those names. No H's allowed.
Bent. His name is Ben 10. That's kind of crazy. Um,
Ben Tinzer. Yeah, I was like, am I misspeaking or am I saying it right? I am saying it right. Mavericks assistant coach Sean Sweeney, another person I don't know, has agreed to become the associate head coach of the Spurs under Mitch Johnson, which is interesting, I think, because they already have such a deep coaching bench, but they're bringing in someone else to be the
Unlike the
assistant head coach.
Spurs, I feel like they
Yeah,
usually promote
keep
with
it.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but Mitch Johnson is a very good coach, so trust
Is he?
him.
How do you know? Do you know that? Do you know Mitch Johnson's game?
Well, I mean, he coached the Spurs for the last year and a half, and I liked what he did.
Uh,
So, as much as that is what I know, that is what I know.
that's what he knows. The Mavericks also have agreed to sign Daniel Gafford to a 3-year contract, about $60 million, so a little under 20 a year. I think that's good value for Gafford. I think he brings a lot of tenacity and heart and hustle and defense to that team. I know Anthony Davis wants to do anything but play center, so um, good.
Personal
Him and
experience.
Lively will continue to be a good center rotation for them.
Yeah, actually, I think he could have gotten more too, but maybe he's just trying
Yeah,
to be a
yeah.
bit more team friendly. He probably likes where he's at for some of the finals with them, and it's I'm very curious to see how good they are this year. I hope Kyrie comes back sooner than
They
later.
don't have a backcourt, so
I
we'll
know,
see.
literally, it's gonna be 6'7" Max Christie and like 6'8" Najee Marshall. Oh, Spencer Dinwiddie. Sorry.
Jaden Hardy,
Oh, dude. Oh, they're
Brandon
fine.
Williams.
Dude, they're fine. Oh, Max Prosper.
That
I don't know
guy's
why I
a
questioned it.
wing. Um,
No, I know. That
but
man can
yeah,
fly.
and he doesn't play. Oh, also Cooper Flag. I can still have Cooper Flag.
Yeah, yeah, point
We,
guard. Point guard for flag.
he can handle the rock a little bit.
I don't think I've watched any Cooper flag clips. We're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that later. What's more important though is that Ime Udoka and the Rockets have agreed to a long-term contract extension. Congratulations, Ime Udoka. You deserve it. You're doing a very good job in Houston.
Yeah, yeah, I'm okay with that, with what we've done in his 2 years as a coach. Um, Despite the weird reason that he left the Celtics, but
Yeah, I know, and it's interesting, but also like it just seems like at least just to put a nip in the, it just seems like he had a relationship with someone and that wasn't allowed, and they let him go.
yeah,
You know,
a
that's
relationship with with someone on staff who
That's
was
yours,
under him.
right? Yeah, so it's a weird
So
dynamic, of
work-wise,
course.
it was weird. Personal-wise, he was married. So
Oh, I didn't know he was
it was
married.
it was I think
Oh,
it was bad in a multitude of ways. I think maybe I could be entirely wrong. I'm gonna look it up now. But
I'm gonna
well,
keep conjecturing.
okay, that's fair.
Okay,
But
so
before
I
I
think,
look it up,
yeah, please tell
are
me what
you
happened. Hey, what happened on Sunday before Game 7?
on Sunday? You and Jared both texted me. I woke up at 3:40 p.m. Um, because I went to bed at 7 a.m. You know, sometimes that's just how it goes. Um, and I woke up to you and Jared with a bunch of text. The Rockets. We traded Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, the number 10 pick in this year's draft, as well as 5 second-round picks for Kevin Durant, which is wild. Um, I said a lot on this podcast that I didn't want this trade to happen. If you go back and listen to the episodes, I'm like, no, please stay away. Don't trade for old Kevin Durant. He's about to be he's 36, about to be 37. Had an Achilles tear in the past. Had multiple injuries. Blah 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 blah. And most of our team is very young, so I was worried that we were going to give up too much in order to make this trade to happen, because he is Kevin Durant. But that was not the case. I'm okay with giving up Jalen Green. I think he is probably the prospect I least wanted on the Rockets any further. Um, we're both big fans of Amin Thompson, Tari Eason, Jabari Smith Jr. I think has kind of developed into an interesting piece for us. Reed Shepard, I don't really care that much about because he's barely played. We'll see if he gets more playing time this year. So giving up Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks, who, I've voiced my displeasure for Dylan Brooks for his whole career, basically. Um, and number 10 pick, great. I didn't want another young guy. We already had too many young guys. The number 3 pick last year didn't play. So we didn't need another guy that wasn't going to play. Fine. And then 5 second-round picks. Okay, whatever. We still have all the Suns draft capital, which is crazy. I don't know how that happened. Couple more things. According to Shabs, the Rockets and the Heat were the final 2 teams in the KD sweepstakes, which I don't understand how
Yeah,
the
who are
Heat could
they?
have
Yeah,
acquired him.
I,
Like,
like, come on, Terry
I guess I
Rozier.
guess Andrew Wiggins has been an all-star. I can't say we gave them an all-star. Um, there's that. No, I mean, I don't think they're throwing Tyler Hero in that trade. I don't think they're. I know there was a report that came out that they said they were not going to include Khalil Ware. Maybe that was the stopping point for uh, the Suns. But yeah, if I'm the Heat, I don't want to give up Khalil Ware for Kevin Durant. Khalil Ware is a young guy, and I don't think the Heat are winning anytime soon. So, second rounders, specifically number 59 in this year's draft, which I believe is the last pick. So I think number 60 is like taken. I think a team had a second taken away from them for tampering or something or another. Um, 2 second rounders next year. Boston's second round pick in 2030, so that'll probably be pretty late in that draft. And then our second round pick in 2032, which is 7 years from now. So who knows what'll be going on
That
by
kid who's
then?
getting drafted is in seventh grade right now. That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's crazy. How do you, before I kind of talk about my feelings, how do you feel about the Suns and what their package, what they get out of this?
Oh yeah. I guess I talked about the Rockets, because that's my team.
Yeah.
The Suns. Well, it sounds like Kevin Durant wasn't making this super easy for them. Um, Considering you gave up Mikal Bridges, Cameron Johnson, all of your picks, and you got back Jalen Green, who I think we can say is worse than Mikal Bridges, and you got back Dylan Brooks, who I think we could say is worse than Cameron Johnson. You got a first round pick. It's Kevin Durant. It's like one of the best scorers ever. I know he's old, but not to the package I thought they were going to get, especially considering the Desmond Bain trade that just happened. Um, the Mikal Bridges trade from the Nets to the Knicks last year.
Yeah.
It just feels like they didn't get a ton of. We've had like 4 unprotected first getting traded for guys, and I guess it's probably because of the age and the desire out of Kevin Durant's camp of where he wants to go specifically that maybe hindered them a little bit in getting, they couldn't, I mean, I guess they could. He didn't have a no trade clause. They could have just sent him to the Hornets if they wanted to give him a bunch of stuff. But I
It,
don't know.
It
They
made me
didn't.
th yeah, it made me think about like the Damian Lillard trade again. Like he said, I want to go to the Heat or like Knicks or something, and they're like, okay,
Yeah,
for sure, for sure, for sure. Bucks, here you go. It was
yeah.
so like could have been like that. But also, I don't think there was any leverage that the Suns had, so that's why the Rockets
Yeah.
were able to do a really good job finessing the Suns. Because I mean, I really like this trade for the Rockets. It's funny. Shout out Saul. He called me and he was like, dude, how do you feel? I was like, I actually love this. He goes, but you said on the pod that you would hate it. And because you and I were in the same agreement. So yeah, if we're gonna have to give up Cam Whitmore, Reed Shepherd, and like Jabari for Kevin Durant, I wouldn't. Absolutely not. But this is Jalen Green, who I think is a solid scorer but inconsistent, and he's just has shown that repeatedly. And I only wish the best for him, and maybe he could be like a six man in the Suns. I kind of think he could maybe fit in like a role coming off the bench because him and Devin Booker on the court together is nasty. We
hmm
don't. I don't think they want that. Dylan Brooks, we can hate him again. That's cool. I like hating Dylan
I
Brooks.
still hated them, so
I mean, yeah,
nothing
it was.
changes for me
I was
there.
conflicted, but now I can just unconflictingly hate him, which is nice. Um, but yeah, he's in our division, so we're gonna see him a lot more uh, as Lakers. But it's fine. Yeah, I don't love this for the Suns, but I just it had no leverage or anything. I actually like this a lot for Kevin Durant. I think he'll probably just. I think his contract's like 2, 3 years. He'll probably just end up and just like end his career with the Rockets. See what happens. But I like this a lot because like okay, so Game 7 against the Warriors. Let's say instead of what the team you had, you have a Kevin Durant, you have a guy
Right.
that's gonna come in handy. That and
Yeah, for
also
sure.
you the only person you gave up really in your rotation that was really I don't even I kind of look at Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks as like half a person as part of that rotation because there were other people that could have filled that role, but we were playing like Tari Eason could play instead of Dylan Brooks, but it was Dylan Brooks because he was getting 20 million, and then instead of Jalen Green, could have had like Jabari like in there, or you know what I mean, like
hmm
it wasn't as needed as like a point guard like Fred VanVleet or your defensive anchors like Amin Thompson or like your like point centers like Alperen Şengün. They were a bit more like a dime a dozen. Let me say that. I feel
Yeah.
like the Rockets had people that could fill it in. So you're not really giving up people in your rotation that is like necessary. So that's awesome for the Rockets.
It is two starters. I wonder what our starting five becomes. Fred VanVleet, Amin Thompson, Kevin Durant, Şengün. So I guess you plug
Tari,
Tari or Jabari in at the four.
yeah.
Which is that's a good lineup.
I
So
think that's really good.
uh
You got defense, you got your point guard, you got two people who can create, and you got yeah, the spacing will be a little interesting with Şengün, but at least they can all I mean, Amin Thompson can't really shoot.
everyone except Amin, yeah.
Yeah,
Which
but
is
he'll
pretty
get
good.
better.
Three out of five.
Yeah, better than
We'll
some
take
teams. I'm looking at you, Lakers. Um, we're okay.
Come on, Jackson Hayes is grinding the Suns
Dude,
to
he's a stretch center machine. Stretch five machine. Anyways, yeah, so yeah, it was just crazy to do this trade before Game 7, I gotta say.
Yeah, the same day is. I mean,
Um,
I guess the Suns and the Rockets. We've been in our off seasons for a little bit, so
yeah,
NBA playoffs was like a month and a half. No, it was 2 months. It
yeah.
started April 17th.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, it was 2 months. So we've
Yeah.
been out for a while.
Yeah. And then oh God, what was it? Oh, I wonder how the Spurs dropped out of the talks too. Maybe they just weren't willing to give up like certain young players that the Suns wanted.
Yeah,
So
I would imagine they didn't want to give a Castle,
or like
um,
Keon Johnson, maybe. I don't know.
Keldon. I feel like they would have been okay with giving up Keldon.
That's what I said, man. I said Keldon.
Like, no, you can't have Jeremy Sohan. He's essential
We
to our
love him.
rotation.
We can't have Harrison Barnes. We love him. I forget, is Chris Paul, did he resign?
No clue.
Okay.
Um,
No, no news yet. I'm sure.
yeah,
Anyways.
He's just out there in the wilderness.
He's in the woods.
He's actually they hired the Mavericks guy, Sean Sweeney. Chris Paul's gonna be right below him as like the other associate head coach, so he can move up that rotation real quick.
Yeah, I mean, I see that for him. I like a better Jared Dudley. Anyways, let's talk about the Lakers. Finally,
Yes, from my
but
team to yours.
finally, so the Buss family sold the Lakers to TWG Global CEO Mark Walter for approximately $10 billion. This is the
You're
largest
not even gonna
sale.
do the doctor.
10. No, I'm not gonna do it. $10 billion. No, okay, I did it. You gotta watch. Hey, if you're not driving, watch the pod. I did it. Watch the pod. I did it. I did the pinky thing. Watch the pod. Anyways, yeah, $10 billion. So, this is the largest sale of a professional sports franchise ever. Makes sense. The late Jerry Buss, who is Jeannie Buss's father, who bought it back in 1979, he bought it for $67.5 million. Jeannie Buss will continue to serve as the team's governor. And what I find most interesting, Mark Walters also has shares in the Dodgers, the LA Sparks, the Billie Jean Cup. I don't know what that is.
I
Do
don't
you
know
know
what
what
that
that is?
is. No,
The Cadillacs Formula One team and the Professional Women's Hockey League. There's a Professional Women's Hockey League. Cool.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's sick though. I don't. There's been a lot of. So my initial reaction, I don't love it.
Hmm.
Um, because the a lot of Dodgers fans don't. I only know this secondhand. A lot of Dodgers fans don't like the owners of the Dodgers. So if this
Hmm.
is the same group owning the Dodgers, I don't love this for the Lakers, and it's mostly because like the Dodgers a lot of the times will not take stances on like social issues,
Hmm.
and it's because they want to play it safe and they don't like. And NBA is different than MLB. It's there's a cap on the salary. There's so much different
I was
kind
gonna
of
say the Dodgers are not afraid to spend money, that's for sure.
yeah, so it might be different, but I'm a little worried because of that reason. I hope that doesn't leak into the culture with the Lakers, but I don't know enough about it. Again, I just heard a lot of the
I
secondhand.
I feel like it won't for two reasons. One,
Hmm.
LeBron. I feel like LeBron will be the culture setter. And if LeBron wants to take a stance, the Lakers will take a stance. Two, I think the NBA, I can't say I follow the MLB nearly as closely. Thank you for flashing the King James shirt. Um, I don't think that, I don't follow the MLB as closely as I do the NBA, obviously, but I feel like the NBA does a better job in general of vocalizing stances on social issues with, ad promos and the warm-up shirts that'll say things
Yeah,
and stuff like that. So I feel like the league as a whole is a little better about it. So maybe
that's good.
that will help. But
Yeah. Yeah, and LeBron won't be there forever, but I think it's at least a good start,
are
And I
you
know there's
sure?
people
Then Brian will go.
uh
Then it's his time for the next 20
oh,
years.
oh
So
yeah, no, we're good. We're set for life. And then it's gonna be Bryce, and then it's gonna be their kids. Bronny Jr. Jr. Bronny Bron Bron. Bronny Bron Bron. Just gonna keep adding Braun. LeBronny Bron.
Oh God.
I love that family, man. Um, that family's royalty to me. Um,
Harry who?
so yeah, I don't love it, but it's nice to see that some of the people are sticking around, like Jeannie Buss. I know Magic Johnson has been like an advisor with them. We have Rob Pelinka for a while because he did pulled off the most crazy trade ever. Um, but
Him
yeah,
and
so
his damn leather jackets.
those leather that he like unzips up from the unzips from the bottom too. God, that guy is so freaking cool. God, with his gelled hair and his self tanner. It makes me
Uh,
forget how cool he is. Mm. Anyways, so Lakers $10 billion sold.
yeah, I think
Yeah, what do you think? Sorry, I totally didn't
no, you're
ask.
good. I think my stance on it is similar. I don't like it. I don't like the corporate aspect of NBA ownership. A lot of not maybe not a lot of teams have been doing this, but the Lakers were like probably about as close as you can get in the NBA to like a mom and pop type ownership feel. with the Bus family, from dad to daughter and so on. And now it's like a corporation of some sort that basically they're. Will I ever know what TWG Global does? No, I'm not gonna look into it. I don't really care. Um, but I bet they just spend a lot of money to make a lot of money, and that's kind of the goal. And with the team like the Lakers, who do have such a large kind of market appeal, I worry about that a little bit. Um, those tickets over there are already so expensive. So, what's going to happen now with these greedy money people with their hands on it?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I feel like we've been seeing that a little bit lately. I'm trying to think the Mavericks, Mark Cuban sold to basically people that don't really know anything about basketball, and then they traded Luka. So, you know, and there's the Celtics sold their team not that long ago. Matt Ishbia, I guess, is not like a corporate owner. He's just a guy.
Timberwolves. Sorry, the Timberwolves
Yeah,
too.
Timberwolves. Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah. That's there are. I like
It's
people that are passionate about it, about
yeah,
basketball, instead of like just the money aspect.
right. No, for sure. And I mean, like, I get worried a lot about like the branding and the advertising and how much of that we're seeing on the court and on the jerseys and everything. And but I think that's just an issue with everything, every sport now. They realize they could just do that and make more money from it. Like, how it's all over the court. Like there's like
Let
now
let's talk
three.
about yeah, let's talk about this a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, like there's like three advertisements on the court now. There's like one that's
And
going to be like for Emirates, and then there's going to be one for like Michelob Ultra, and it's like digitally and put on there. It just
I
looks
was gonna
so.
say the digital ones drive me crazy. So there's always been whatever the court is called. That's on there somewhere. So
Yeah,
like the Rockets were a Toyota Center. We have been pretty much my whole life. I don't know how
yeah.
long. But you see Toyota Center on the court. Okay, it's
Mhm.
called Toyota Center. We call it Toyota Center. There's Toyota on the court. Fine. I'll live with that. They
Yeah,
paid for the stadium or whatever. Great. I would love if I think it would be cool if NBA teams had like cool names for their home court. That just feels cooler than like miscellaneous brand.
like the
Um,
crypt for
like the
us.
crypt. I talked to Jared about the crypt not that long ago. Um, I was like, yeah, the crypto.com arena. I was like, how did you miss so badly with the name when it was right there for you? And
Yeah,
like, we're gonna see crypto.com on the floor when we watch the game because you paid for the stadium. Can you call it something cool?
yeah,
No one wants to go to the crypto.com arena. Okay, we don't want that. People want to go to the crypt or like teams are coming in. Yeah, you're coming to the crypt. We're gonna bury you. I mean, there's a
yeah.
lot of,
That's
a lot of
there's a
good
lot
stuff you
of
can do there, right?
yeah.
So yeah, if teams side note, if teams could just make cool names and we can figure out the branding stuff, great. Brand
Uh,
on the court. Go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say back to well, about stadiums just real quick. Like in LA, one of the most famous stadiums here is the Forum.
Hmm.
A lot of people here don't know it's actually called the Kia Forum. So it's like no one calls it the Kia Forum though. It's like so why that's kind of cool. Is that like Kia Forum is only on the front, but the thing is it's so globally accepted. It's just the Forum. It's
Right.
the stadium in LA, and it's like you don't have to make it just like about the brand that is on the name of the stadium.
Or even
And
if you do,
also
could you like creative
just make
vibe,
it
like make
fun.
it a yeah.
Yeah, just have fun with it.
You
People
don't have to just say fucking random brand name arena stadium. Like do something with it.
Yeah, the one I always think of, what's the one that the Phoenix Suns play in? It's like some casino
It
arena.
changed at some
Yeah,
point. It used to be like
Three Feathers Casino Arena,
it
and then
it
now it's
used to
something
be
different.
because I think it used to be Native American influenced. I don't know if it
Right.
still is. Um, but it was like Talking Foot Stadium or something.
Here we
But it
go. We got
changed.
this. It is called, it was previously known as the Footprint Center, but now
Footprints.
it's
Okay.
currently named PHX Arena.
Right.
Okay.
PHX, it's just Phoenix Arena.
Yeah, because the team is currently seeking a new naming rights partner right now. That happened this year.
That's so stupid.
Yeah, what the
Yeah,
I'm just learning about
call
this.
it
I'm
the
just
solar eclipse. I don't know. Um,
yeah, the footprint sensor. That's actually not
anyways,
bad. Anyways, sorry, we got derailed.
We got the brand name on the court floor. Okay, sure. You got the brand name because we're watching broadcast view. We can see a bunch of advertisements, below the scores table or whatever when players have to
Hmm.
check in, right? We can see it around the outside, the out of bounds lines. They got slip some branding in there, and then they got to digitally put in these terrible, terrible things onto the court. The like for the playoffs, they had playoffs or whatever.
Yeah,
Sometimes for the finals, they had finals. They went to the Golden Trophy for a little bit, and that
I
was
know.
bad.
Yeah, they did it. No, well, the thing is, what was bad about it is that they did four mini ones,
Mini
like
ones.
in the little, and not even in the far corner, but like near the
It
center
was like
court.
diagonal of middle court. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like four, one, two, three, four, and it was like, so you guys just want to cluster them on the court?
People complained so much that they got rid of it, and then it was like just the NBA Finals.
Well, that's we complained it wasn't there, and then they added four, and they're like, ah, it's too many. Oh,
Go look up, listener, a picture of Celtics Lakers 2010 NBA Finals floor, and you will see
oh,
the Lakers logo in the middle and the giant Larry O'Brien beneath it. And that looks great.
so
What are we
cool.
doing? What are we doing? And then even throughout the season, they just have like the random brandings. Like I guess I don't know if it's game sponsors or channel sponsors. They'll just pop them here and there around the paint. It's like, what are we doing? I hate it.
So a big
Sorry.
reason why no, this you're good. The big reason why I was reading about this, they don't do the giant trophy in the middle, Larry O'Brien trophy, is because reports were that it is distracting to basketball players on the court. But here's my argument: what the hell are those in-season tournament courts?
I was gonna say, what
If
is
if if not
this?
distracting to the player,
Like crazy neon
hmm?
colors.
Yeah, no. The bright blue and neon red isn't distracting, but the giant trophy is. Think about that.
Also, the giant trophy is just in mid-court. How often are
And
we taking half-court shots?
also, it's about the same color as the court. So it's
Yeah,
like,
it wasn't
oh,
that different.
I guess there's a trophy here too. Cool. But like, oh no, this is definitely red. We're like, oh no, yeah, I'm definitely standing like on a on a different color than I'm used to. That's for sure. Yeah. Anyways, what a trip. What a trip down.
The Nets, their like permanent court is like gray.
It's disgusting.
I'm okay with it. It's a different
I know.
vibe.
It's better than like super color.
The
And here's the
Hornets
thing.
do the honeycomb pattern. Like
Look,
that's cool.
I like the yeah, and that's also I bet that's more distracting than just a solid red color. On like
Absolutely.
yeah, and here's the thing. On a personal level, this is me. This is Dom talking. Okay, this is me. Not NBA
I wasn't sure
commentator,
who it was,
not
so
NBA specialist. This is Dom as a fan. I like the courts. I don't care. You could do anything to them. It's fun, but stop putting brands there. Like
It's
that.
not the
It's
court
like
that's the issue.
it's not about yeah the court. Like if you make it related to the game, awesome. I don't need a reminder to drink a Michelob Ultra with a digital like digitally enhanced part in the corner. Like I just don't. I'm gonna be drinking Michelob Ultra anyways, probably. Michelob Ultra sponsor us. Um, anyways, yeah, the trophy it should just come back. Like it's just one big trophy, not that hard. It makes it feel a bit more, you know, grandiose. And someone watches it like an average view, someone who doesn't watch the NBA pulls it on the TV. You see a giant trophy. You're like, oh, this is something important. You know what I mean? But now it just looked like any basic court. Like, anyways, it's I like when you make the spectacle. That is what the sport is. It's a spectacle, you
hmm
know? So like embrace that. And it's not that hard to put a trophy. Anyways, but yeah, the branding is more annoying than no trophy. I'd rather have no trophy and no branding than like a giant trophy and so much branding.
I get it's presented by YouTube TV. You
It's
say
like,
it
don't worry,
during the
yeah.
broadcast
Mike Breen tells
600
me
times,
he
so
doesn't
I
say
don't
bang.
need it on the court the whole time.
He
While we're talking
goes,
about let's transition into this right now. Let's just get it
okay,
out the way. We're on a
okay,
roll. Let's
let's
get
do it.
into some commentary a little bit. We're talking about, but
Go
also
off.
commercials. The whole spectacle of the game, really. So the commentary, the ad breaks, the commercials, halftime, it's all horrible. It's all so much worse than I remember it being. And this really, during this finals, I think, and we haven't talked about the finals yet. We'll get there, okay? We're passionate about other stuff right now. Um, really made me realize how much I actually might miss the TNT broadcasting crew, and not necessarily like inside the NBA, because I feel like honestly, like I know they're coming. I think they're coming back on ESPN as like a different thing next year, anyways. But it's not like Shaq and Charles Barkley and these guys were like incredibly knowledgeable, or like I felt they were giving me some crazy insight. But I think I'll miss the just the presentation of it all. Like I feel like ABC/ ESPN just has a really bad grasp of what I want when I'm watching a basketball game. Because I felt like a lot of times throughout these finals, I was just watching like something that, when it wasn't the actual game, I was just watching something that didn't matter. Like, whether, obviously, commercials are a part of everything, commercials are going to exist. I felt like a lot of commercials. I felt like halftime, especially in like the last couple games, was like 90% commercials. It was like, and usually halftime game seven, I listen to the whole thing. Usually I mute halftime because I know it's going to be so useless that I don't even bother listening to it. But for game like the last couple of games, I felt like it was, we're okay. We're going into halftime. Commercial. Check in with like Stephen A. and whoever, Bob Myers for some reason, Kendrick Perkins. What are we doing?
Malika
Malika
Andrews.
Andrews, shout out, like Malika
Yeah.
Andrews.
Yeah, she was good.
Um, But everyone else, I'm like, okay, like talk to them for 5 seconds. Commercial, commercial, commercial. Okay, here's our official halftime report for 3 minutes. Commercial, commercial, commercial. Talk to them for 5 seconds. Commercial, commercial, commercial. And third quarter, here we go. Um,
Yeah.
it's just useless.
Yeah. No, I had the same feeling going between commercials to what is like, well, there's this weird thing in commercials too. I don't know if you've noticed this. They'll have a commercial and then they will cut back to the game and then someone will say something for 30 seconds and then it'll
Yes.
go back to commercials.
Yes, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
and
Yep.
I'm like, why was that? I wasn't anything necessary. Like I just saw this. Like I don't know what that's supposed to do. Just go back to the game quicker. Um, and yeah, with the we've talked about this a lot too, but like especially with this crew that was running it, like they just take such extreme stances for the sake of being extreme, and like
Looking at
I
you,
like
Stephen A.
yeah,
Looking at
and Kendrick Perkins,
you.
like they literally, like
Yeah,
Kendrick Perkins, like said something like Game 6, like they just need to show up and they'll win, and they didn't, and then now he just looks like a fool, and then Stephen A.
yeah,
Smith is like, I gave, I like, it's just, it's so over the top because I know like you're trying to be,
right.
like you want people to stick around, but that's not making me stick around.
No.
I actually, that's when I go make my dinner or my lunch, and I
Yeah.
don't watch the game at all. So it's got to be something more. I agree, like the TNT thing. It was just a bit more like they they really focused on the game at hand, or if there was an earlier game, they did that. But instead of just like focusing on, I don't know, like sensationalist, like headline stuff.
I think the ESPN broadcast, Stephen A. Smith, Kendrick Perkins, those guys, I think they focus on things that are clickbaity and will kind of get a maybe more casual fan
Yeah,
to kind of stick to something that's watching. But for I think actual basketball fans, people that watch regularly, like me and you, and so many others around the world, I feel like we're just kind of like, ugh. Like I just want to watch the game. I don't even care what you have to say. I'm so over this already.
literally.
Um, and I honestly I see it at work. You know, for those of you that don't know, I work at a school. Kids will walk up and they're just like, boom, hot take that they probably saw on ESPN or something, and I'm like, whatever. I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't really care to talk about this. It's like I actually, and then I'll start explaining actual stuff, and they're like, ah.
Well, see, that's what I find. That's what I'm really enjoying about this alternative media of getting NBA news, like how we like enjoy basketball and numbers on the board, and I know you like Zach Lowe and like these
Yeah,
other people who are doing stuff that's better than this, but they're not getting as much recognition. Sure, they get
More
shout
ethical.
outs. We're gonna talk about that in a little bit. Well, in a couple weeks, we'll talk about being more ethical. That's for sure. I don't know why I closed my eyes like halfway when I was saying that, but we're getting ethical up in here. Um, but it's just but that's just the way every media is going. Is that even if you turn on CNN or you turn on Fox, like God, whatever, like whatever news you watch, it is literally the most crazy thing happening.
Yeah.
Like even when with all the stuff going on in Los Angeles, like the last couple of weeks, my parents calling me, "Are you okay?" It's like there is not everything's fine. So it's like that for the NBA. It's like people are like panicking. It's like there is no reason to panic. Like this is talk like this is a sport we love. Let's talk about it like we love it, not like we are watching it so we just can, I don't know, be wild. And it's like no, like there's nuance. There's like things we care about, and like you should too. And
Yeah.
I think I don't want to blame these people in particular we're talking about. I think it's just across the board. Like that is what media is now. You want to catch people's attention like that, and like I
Yes,
like
but I
the
also think
meditative
as
approach.
essentially the like leading sports program in the world for my entire lifetime, you should have some sort of moral stance. It's like, guys, like you're ESPN, people are going to watch you. You
Yeah,
don't have to hot take everything.
no,
It's going to be watched by every person because you're ESPN.
literally, no, exactly.
So
Like you
you
don't
could
have
just
to
actually
like
do real stuff.
yeah, you don't have to like devolve what it was. And here's the thing, maybe it's always been this way. I don't know. I don't remember. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I don't really, as a kid, I don't remember the commercials
I
and
didn't
the
watch
halftime
a lot of
shows.
sports like programming as a child.
Yeah,
Really.
I watched like a lot of games, but then I think but I don't remember the half times. I don't
Yeah,
remember
yeah, yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I don't remember any of that. I definitely remember like no brands on jerseys, and that's gone
Hmm.
up more. And we talked about that briefly, but that's just natural. It's happening across all the sports. But so I
Money.
can't like relate to what it was when I was back in my day,
Right.
But this is my day now, and that's how I feel. And I feel like you know, I think most viewers would also agree. And here's the thing, the casual viewer also kind of doesn't care about your hot takes.
Yeah.
Like, like I really don't think they do because they're gonna be like, I don't even know what do you mean by that? Like, what do you mean this person has to do that? Like, I don't even know who they are.
Yeah.
It's like, anyways. Yeah, so commentators, huh?
Uh, yeah. Mike Breen feels a little washed this playoffs. I don't know.
Not as passionate.
Yeah, I'm not feeling it. I'm love Doris Burke. Love what she's done for basketball as a woman, especially as a player, former coach, reporter, all that great stuff. Not a good commentator. Um, just not. Just just not for everybody. Who was the third person? Oh,
Richard
Richard Jefferson.
Jefferson.
He's fine.
Yeah, so Richard Jefferson's the only one I really feel like at least sounded like he was having fun. Because he
Yeah.
would like say some jokes here and there, and like I don't think anyone's. I think Kevin Harlan's probably the best one out of
Kevin
all of them.
Harlan's the GOAT.
He's because he's still very passionate about it, and you can really feel it.
Did the Jamal
Uh,
Murray shot when he got up, he's like,
dude,
"Ah!"
like
freaking out.
is Doris Burke doing that? Is Richard Jefferson doing that? It's like no, but I like that he was at
Is
least
he coming back? Because he was on TNT.
Kevin Harlan.
Yeah, he was the TNT
I
guy.
hope so. Do you like
Him
how I
and
shut my
Reggie.
camera? Sorry.
Him and Reggie, which I'm glad Reggie was there at the game, so that was cool.
Oh yeah, I love that. And I thought also my initial reaction was that's really weird for you to be like an analyst and you're really supporting one team. But I was like, of course he is. He served his like 20 year he played his entire career with the
He's
Pacers.
a fan.
I'm glad he's like I at first I was like,
But also he
oh
was on TNT. Is he gonna be an analyst next year? I don't know. I have no idea. So
yeah, I don't well, I guess we'll let when we know we'll let you know the listener. But yeah, the commentating was a little lifeless, a
hmm
little not dispassionate, and especially for the NBA finals, like what was crazy. It's kind of funny, at least to me. So the commentators were not that loud or passionate, but it kind of let more noise from the crowd come in,
You
and
could hear, I
hearing the
mean,
crowds
that's a
were
testament to both of
insane.
these crowds. They were
Yeah,
awesome.
you could hear them the entire. So I
I
don't know.
think the
Maybe
OKC fans stood up for the entirety of Game 7 from
I.
what I was witnessing on my television screen.
Yeah, that's exactly what I saw too. And I love basketball. I love it so much. I don't know if I'd stand all
A
games.
lot of white people out there
Yeah,
at
and
OKC.
white
That's
people
what.
white people would be crazy. White people would be crazy. I'll tell you that much. Mm.
Yeah, I don't know. I think continuity is a part of it. Last year ESPN had JJ Redick. He's now the coach of the Lakers. They used to have Jeff Van Gundy, Mark Jackson. They let both of them go um, for whatever reason, and I don't feel like they've solved it. So figure
Yeah,
something out, man. We got to. I know we've mentioned Steve Nash and Dirk are going to be doing some analysis next year.
I'm
Um,
interested. Yeah.
so I don't know, but they got to. ESPN has to be better.
How do we throw our names in the hat?
I feel like we would be great commentators.
I would fucking curse so fucking much, and it'd be so
We don't.
fucking
I don't
sick.
think that's true because we really don't curse on this podcast, and we don't. We do not have a planned filter, at least not that I'm aware of.
Fuck. I think I do. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm just doing it for fun. No, I agree. I mean, because I think about it all the time. I'm at work. I'm here doing this. I'm
Yeah,
not thinking that oh, I'm about to say it. I just
yeah,
don't.
yeah,
Anyway,
yeah,
I know I was mostly kidding. But I would. Oh, that would be so much fun. Can we at least? We should at least try to like do like not even
yeah.
G League, but like
They
some
they
small.
post on Indeed or something. Where do I get in on
Yeah,
that?
where are we getting some action? We could do a
Well,
really good
first of all, we
job.
have to be able to go there together, so that's probably the first problem.
Okay,
Um,
so give us money, ESPN.
true. I'll move to LA.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Come on.
I get a sports job in LA. I'm going.
Dude, they hire actually okay, this is a little this is more even more tangenty than what we were doing before. But the thing
It's
is
the passion.
I used to always see Clippers jobs on like LinkedIn and Indeed and like I'm not
No,
working for the
I'm good
Clippers.
on that.
Yeah, but but you could but that's like you don't hate the Clippers as much as
I'm
I
gonna
do.
sell tickets for the Clippers? No.
No, but even like the Rams are always hiring Chargers. It's just not
Hiring
near
what?
no, just like media people and then like writers and they're just look it up. Like there's jobs like just random jobs like that.
Um, you gotta share your bedroom.
Huh?
Huh?
Oh, gotta share my bedroom.
Yeah.
We'll find a way. No, the only reason why I didn't like I found some Lakers jobs when I first moved here, but it's not close to where I live at all. So that's the only
Mm.
thing. So you have to figure that out. But anyways, sorry for the tangent. Commentating.
No, it was great.
Let's do better. Let's do better. We're gonna do, we're I, I'm gonna we're gonna do it
We're gonna do it.
somehow, some way.
I had a whole thing I wanted to talk about with Caitlin Clark
Yeah.
because there was a whole situation that occurred, and I think it's important to talk about not only Caitlin Clark, but the situation that occurred and what it means kind of for her in the WNBA and what's going on over there.
Yeah, please.
We just went on a huge tangent, so I'm going to table this for next pod.
No, let's talk about it, but let's just talk about the facts, I think.
Here are the facts.
Yeah, I want to know because I want to do, but yeah, the final we got to talk about the finals. We still talk about the final,
We got to talk about the finals. We're going all over the place. We're busy people, so we can't sit here for 3 hours as much as we'd love to. In the Fever's game against the Connecticut Sun, Caitlin Clark, I was watching this. I watched the play a lot. She's dribbling the ball around the 3-point line, and JC Sheldon is the person's name. Looked like she went for the ball for like a steal, missed the ball, poked her right in the eyeball, like a jab with the fingers right in the eye. And Caitlin Clark dropped the ball, obviously, and was like grabbing her face because she's like, ow, that hurt. And no context for me for the rest of the game. I don't know if anything, this was in like the third quarter, I think. So I don't know if anything happened before that kind of led up to this. But as Caitlin Clark's like grabbing her eye, Sheldon like walked up and did like the flex, like, yeah, like I'm getting all over you after I just poked you in the eye, which was weird. And then Caitlin Clark, like, grabbing her eye with one hand, pushed her with the other hand, like, get off of me when I'm grabbing my eyeball that you just poked. And then a different player, Marina Mabry, is her name, comes up out of nowhere and just leveled Caitlin Clark, just like boom, right on the ground, like put her on her back. And that was like for no reason, basically. Whistles blow, of course, people are getting involved. Caitlin Clark, JC Sheldon, Marina Mabry all got technical fouls. No flagrant for Marina Mabry for the run up and shove on the ground, which I thought was interesting, or ejection or anything like that, because it was just kind of unwarranted. Sheldon got a flagrant one for the foul. Later in the game, and this is for the Commissioner's Cup, by the way. Um, that's relevant. This is to go to the finals of the Commissioner Cup, which I think is like the NBA Cup. I
Yeah.
think. Caitlin Clark hit a three over JC Sheldon to put him up like 20 with the 4 minutes left. Sun call a timeout. Caitlin Clark is yelling at JC Sheldon as she's going back to the bench. And then it's a home game, so she turns and starts like amping up the crowd and stuff. Kind of a cool moment. Less than a minute left in the game. Garbage time, essentially. Sophie Cunningham, Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark teammate, fouled JC Sheldon when she drove in pretty hard. Basically, Sheldon drove in and Cunningham went like arms up, down on her and like pulled her out of bounds, basically.
Yeah.
And then they got into a little scuffle. Cunningham, Sheldon, and a different Sun player who I didn't even bother to give a name for all ejected. So kind of a weird situation. Like I said, I don't have a lot of context for what happened before or what led up to this. Um, what I get from it, because this is not the first time this has happened with Caitlin Clark. I know we like not we, me and you, but like basketball media talks more about Caitlin Clark than any other WNBA player, and for a lot of people, it's like the reason that WNBA is relevant and people care about it at all. It feels like a jealousy thing, perhaps. Feels like unnecessary hostility. I know Caitlin Clark kind of buys into it with not buys into it like she's like, yes, I want to be the bad guy, but like she gets into things. Like she gets the crowd involved.
She's
She
not
talks.
afraid. Like that's
Yeah.
you shouldn't be. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, like, and I mean, for me, I think, I like that Caitlin Clark has drawn so much attention to the WNBA. Do I think people should have already paid attention to it and cared about it before? Yes. Is it Caitlin Clark's fault that she draws all this attention? No. It's just kind of what happened, and I think people just sometimes kind of get fed up that she's like the star of the WNBA despite being really young, and things like this happen. But the other thing I also want to mention, letting the one person push her on the ground, and then there were no ejections or like anything for that, it was a little weird. It felt like okay, she just literally somebody poked her in the eye, bumped her, and then somebody else pushed her down, and y'all were just like technical. Um, Gotta protect your players. So I am not a like Caitlin Clark super fan. I think she's a great player, obviously. Love that she got the NBA or WNBA in people's eye. Um, but I think, as a league, you got to be better with any player. Just letting that happen to them on the court, not
Totally
basketball
agree.
activity.
No, I totally agree. I mean, we've been seeing stuff like this even since last season, and it is such an interesting time for the WNBA because this is the most exposure I've ever seen of the WNBA. So a lot of these players are getting used to this. Like the thing is, there's always been WNBA fans, obviously, and people that love it. But now I see WNBA players in CarMax commercials, State Farm commercials, and like I don't
From the
think I've ever
logo.
seen that. Like I definitely used to, I remember seeing like um her last name was Snow. She was on the Houston Comets. She was like in car commercials and local car commercials and stuff.
Hmm.
I don't remember her name, but like, but it is different. And the thing about change is that people are usually against change or not. They have to get used to it, and it sucks when there's one player who is the focal
Michelle.
point of that. Was it Michelle Snow?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm glad I remembered that. It's been so long. I think I used to have like a not a bobblehead, but those Russian dolls that you could put inside of. I remember I went to a
Oh,
Comets
nesting
game,
dolls.
a nesting doll. I went to a Comets game and I got like the starting lineup of like the Comets as a
Oh,
nesting doll.
that's cool.
Yeah. I have it somewhere. I have no clue where it is, but I remember she was the one on like the big one on and then there's little ones inside. It's pretty
It
cool.
was like center power forward, small.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. That's pretty cool. Do that again, NBA.
What are we doing?
Or WNBA or whatever. Yeah, anyway, yeah, it's tough when there's celebrities, basically. When it's almost doesn't become about the sports, becomes about you being a celebrity. And I
Yeah.
almost feel like that similarly probably happened with Michael Jordan. A lot of people just didn't like him because he bought into it. Like he was like, I am the face of the league. Caitlin Clark is like, I am the face of the league. The thing is like if they didn't do that, then the league would also be suffering. So it's like it's part of the game almost, it's part of the
Yeah.
sport. That's what it's become. And, just hurting people and going at them because of whatever it could be jealousy or you just don't like their personality or whatever, like that's no reason to hurt anybody. And I agree, like they need to do a better job of like discouraging that somehow and then, not harshly punishing, but definitely being pushed to the ground. And it's a dead ball, especially when it's a dead ball and you
Yeah,
get pushed to the ground, that is grounds for immediate ejection. Are you kidding?
yeah,
Like, that's not like, oh, I was going for the ball. It's like the ball's not even in play. You
yeah.
know what
I
I
mean,
mean?
one of the things they say for the flagrant fouls uh is
Wind
do they go
up.
for the ball?
Yeah.
Was it a basketball motion or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So.
So, that's definitely yeah, I didn't see these clips you're talking about, but that's crazy. I hate
No, you
seeing
should look it
that kind
up.
of stuff.
It's like I said, I got no context. If I don't know if Caitlin Clark insulted her mother or something.
Even then,
Yeah.
well, yeah,
Uh,
okay, obviously don't do okay, Caitlin, don't do that. If you are doing that, don't do that. But also don't answer by pushing someone down like that's the you know what
right.
I mean. So that's
Oh,
what again, that's what about basketball is that like, okay, if they did insult your mother, then you go back on the other side and you score on them, you dunk on them, and then
right,
and then you insult their mother. No, I'm kidding.
right.
I don't condone that. We don't condone that here. That's not ethical. That's not
Not
ethical.
ethical. Not
Not
ethical.
ethical.
Yeah, if you have an issue with it, be the face of the league. Sorry.
There you go. All right. Hey, one more news thing, and then we'll get to the finals.
Keep it
The
in Indiana.
Pacers. What the heck am I talking about? The Pacers. The Pacers traded their number 23 pick in this draft to the Pelicans for their own 2026 pick back. So the Pelicans now have picks 7 and 23. Cool.
Big move.
Is it?
Well, considering the injury that we're going to talk about, could be.
Mm, yeah, you know what? Let's get into it. Tell me about game five. Oh, finals recap. It's the finals recap. Finals recap. Game five.
Oh, I liked that. I liked that whisper at the end. That was nice.
Mm.
Yeah, finals. If you got this far, thanks. We just talked about a lot of everything for a while. Um, Thunder win 4-3, game seven. Thunder in seven before the series prediction. Check mark. Check mark. Yeah, yeah, you me, yeah, yeah. I saw you with your Thunder in five. Some of you Thunder in six. We had Thunder in seven on this podcast because we know. Um, yeah, we both had it right. So we're geniuses. Um, let's not talk about Celtics Thunder prediction that we made at the beginning of the playoffs. I don't
No,
want to talk about it.
let's talk
I
about. No, I'm
don't. I
kidding.
don't want
I'm
to.
kidding.
I'll get you your Jeff Green Thunder jersey, okay? Um,
We can we'll discuss off pod. Yeah.
but yeah, last three games of the series, we didn't talk about game five. First of all, starting lineups. Hello, welcome back into the NBA broadcast. Finally, a good broadcasting move by ABC and ESPN. Because before it was like the game starts at seven, theoretically, right? Um, you got to wait till 7:18 for commercials to be done, and then oh look, the tip off. Now at seven, they do like the national anthem, the starting lineups, like I'm there at the game, which is nice. Why weren't we doing that already? I know we used to. More commercials, more money, blah blah blah. That was cool. Yeah, first time since 2013 that we had starting lineup intros, so that's pretty neat. Um, Game five, Pacers were pretty subpar overall, turned the ball over a lot. Tyrese ended up getting a calf strain in this game, and he looked hurt most of the game. Um, I think maybe he got it in game four. I don't remember. I think it was towards the end of game four, and he was still injured in game five. Um, but they kept it close until about halfway through the fourth quarter. That's when the Jalen Williams games decided to occur. J-Dub exploded, dropped a playoff career high of 40. Just getting to the paint with ease. They did the thing, another broadcasting thing that I actually do like, where they show like a shot chart. And his shot chart was basically just getting to the rim over and over and over. I know he had a right wrist injury he was dealing with in the playoffs. His left hand, his offhand layups, very good with that left hand. And then
And
he was,
so high off the glass too. I was watching
yeah,
that.
yeah, just getting it over those big guys, nice spin, go right in.
Mhm.
That's something I've always struggled with as a casual ball player, is the layup spin. So that was really nice. SGA, just doing SGA things, joined Kobe, Hakeem, and Michael Jordan as the only players to score 30. in at least 15 games in one playoff run. So it's a pretty big deal. Obviously, you got to get to the finals probably for that to occur. So, nice job. Nice job. Good
Wait,
work.
is SGA on that list? Oh yeah, okay. You said SGA joined Kobe. I thought
Yeah,
you
yeah,
said
yeah.
J Dub. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Crazy list to be a part of. We're gonna talk about other lists that SGA is now a part of too. But before we do that, we're gonna talk about Game Six. Now, Game Six was
Yeah.
pivotal. Game Six was pivotal. So we, you and I talked about last time we talked after Game Four, and we thought that I think we both said we think each home team is gonna win moving forward. So Game
I
Five
said
was
specifically after the Pacers blew game four, because they were up game four. We talked about
right.
that. I said they're going to get rolled in game five by the
Yeah,
Thunder. And they did.
yeah.
But I was surprised about game six.
Yeah,
I
I
I
was
I was surprised. I didn't know who was going to win, but I was surprised. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah no game six. I thought I just thought home teams were gonna win moving
Sure, sure,
forward.
sure.
I thought it was gonna go
You
seven.
did
Did
say
it go
that.
to
I remember
seven?
that.
Yeah. So game six, Thunder started off really hot. They took an 8 point lead. Pacers just trying to figure things out. And just the wheels came off for the Thunder, and the Pacers held the Thunder's offense in check for the rest of the game, and they got themselves going in transition. They were basically, I've been seeing this, they were out OKCing the OKC Thunder.
Mm,
In that respect, a lot of transition, getting turnovers, and just like getting buckets that way, extra points. The Pacers were up by 20 at the half and then 30 by the end of the third quarter. And let me tell you, like when I tell you that stadium was electric, the Ben
mm.
Shepherd three at the end of the halftime, or right
Oh
at
yeah, yeah, yeah.
before halftime to go up, or was it into the third quarter to go up by 30? Anyways, he sunk a three like right at the buzzer, and it just like was like a nail in like the oh my god. And the Thunder did build up a fight like in the fourth quarter for sure. Like did seem a
Once
little.
Johnny Furphy was in, shout out Johnny
Oh,
Furphy.
shout out. But Pacers were able to hold on to it. TJ McConnell. So we can't talk about these last three games of the Pacers run in the finals without TJ McConnell because this man coming off the bench was the spark that the Pacers needed. He's 6'1". He's the oldest guy on the court getting rebounds. He is the one penetrating, shooting out, or he's spinning around, making a layup. He's getting the steals, making the right plays, getting the crowd into it. The crowd was chanting TJ.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
His
and
dad was there.
his dad, his
Awesome.
grandfather too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Pascal Siakam met his grandfather. Also,
Oh,
I
I
don't know
did
if
see this. I did see
yeah.
this.
Also, I don't know if we talked about this. If we talked about the huddle before Game Six, where
The Pascal became a man possessed.
yeah, literally, he became the Thunder Taker, which is pretty sick.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. I
I
saw
didn't see
that's
that.
that's not me. That was online. I saw that. I'm not gonna take credit for that, but I thought it was pretty sick.
Yeah,
That
that's a
was
good
in the
one.
huddle before Game Six. But yeah, so TJ McConnell was going crazy. Obi Toppin continued just to like be that when basically so Miles Turner was playing the five. He was good, but he would get in foul trouble. He didn't get tired. Put Tony Bradley in. He's too slow. Thomas Bryant can't really. He
Thomas
got played
Bryant
off the
barely
court.
played this
So
series.
then they were playing Obi at five, and he did a really good job actually at
Third
playing at
leading
five.
scorer, I think, in the
Yeah.
playoffs.
And then
Crazy.
only 23 minutes of playing time for Halliburton, which was good because he wasn't feeling 100%. And he talked about that going in, but he still ended up with I think 14, 11, and 3. Something like that, which is still a crazy
Yeah.
stat line for playing 23 minutes and not being 100%. Um, what did Halliburton call TJ McConnell?
In
I'm like forgot. I can't. It
in
was something good.
the post game press conference, he referred to TJ McConnell as the Great White Hope.
Oh my God. Well, he
And
was. He was for the
that's
Pacers.
pretty good. Yeah, TJ McConnell, awesome, amazing, great playoff run. The inbound steals are great. I've never seen somebody that is 6'1", shorter than me, um, be able to he dribbles in the paint with such confidence and like the way he gets around the court. Like he just kind of dribbles, stop, turn, go, and then he's like, "Oh, look, I can just lay it up right here actually. I can just take this 6 foot jump shot." And despite his size, manages to get over, 7 foot tall players, etc. Just awesome to watch. Great story.
Yeah.
Second oldest pacer, so you love to see it.
Yeah. Second oldest pacer by James Johnson.
James
Yeah.
Johnson, yeah.
But who actually plays?
The
Oh, we
oldest
didn't talk.
playing one.
Oh, we also didn't talk at the end of game six, James Johnson got
Yeah,
ejected. I forgot to talk
yeah,
about
yeah.
that for
That
no
was
reason.
huge.
Absolutely no. I mean, he
I
did something.
admittedly had the game turned off because it was such a blowout. So
Yeah.
I didn't see that what happened.
Well, no, basically he just one of the, the bench guys, one of the third string guys from the Thunder went up for like a layup, and then James Johnson kind of pushed him in the back like when he was going up, and they just like ejected James Johnson. It was like
I said,
so
okay.
dumb. He could have just let him go by, but he was like, no, I gotta try to play deep. But I like it didn't, it didn't look like he intentionally was trying to hurt the guy or anything, but it was just like overzealous and just not needed because you're up
In
by
those
like
final
20.
minutes.
Yeah, and it was like a minute and a half left. I was like, this is so Udonis coded. I love
So
it.
Udonis, exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah,
He's their
um,
Udonis.
exactly.
Perfect.
But this all led up to a game seven in
Game seven.
Oklahoma City
Yeah.
on a Sunday. Everything, all the stars aligned. This was going to be an amazing game. Damon, tell me what happened.
Yeah. First game seven since 2016, right? Since the
That's why I wore this
LeBron
shirt, by the way.
block. Okay, yeah, yeah. I see. I like it. And that was, I mean, that was the game seven, right?
Yeah,
The LeBron block, the Kyrie shot, all that good stuff. Um, so I was really excited. I didn't even piece together in my brain that we hadn't had a game seven in that long.
hmm
But I was like, oh yeah, I guess that is the case, huh? Anyways, um, game starts off pretty good, pretty good. I was worried back in OKC that they were that crowd. Oh my God, that crowd! I was worried they were going to run away with it. Um, but it was competitive pretty much the whole first half. But we have to talk about the most important thing that happened early on in this game. 9 minutes in, Tyrese Haliburton scored three threes in a row. It looked awesome, and it was giving the Pacers life. You see it happen on the replay. They showed the replay 17 times, which the first two times, right when it happened, okay. And they kept going back to it over and over and showing it. I was like, yes, I remember. I was actually watching this game in the first quarter. I remember when this happened. And then showing like him getting carried off by James Johnson and some other people. It's just like, I don't want to see a guy like that. Anyways, what happened is he is at the 3 point line, goes to take a pretty aggressive, dribble penetration move to get around his defender, plants his right foot back to get that burst step, and you can see it on the replay. You see the Achilles tear. And I've seen a lot, not a lot of Achilles tears, but I've seen them. And he falls straight to the ground, starts banging his fist into the floor. You can see him mouthing. I think he mouthed something like "I did it," referring to tearing his Achilles. Probably he probably knew immediately when that happened. Um,
you know when it happens too.
yeah,
There's no other feeling like it.
and then Thunder get a point in transition, timeout. There's a big huddle of Pacers players, staff, people around them. The arena gets pretty quiet, which shout out to OKC Arena for being quiet during that moment. Um, not like booing or anything crazy like that. So it sucks because I feel like there's a lot of things that go into it, right? The first thing is we know he had a calf strain that he suffered. If this were not the NBA Finals, he probably would not be playing. He would probably be resting. When you have a calf strain, you are at greater risk of injuries such as tearing or Achilles. This happened to Kevin Durant in the 2019 Finals, Warriors Raptors. He had a calf strain. He came back for the game I think that they lost, or maybe the game before, because they were down, and he was like, "Okay, I got to come back so we don't lose." Towards Achilles. So we've seen it happen before, and it's tough. Also sucks. It feels like obviously sucks for Tyrese Haliburton. This is literally the worst time to tear your Achilles because it's the last game of the NBA season. You're going to miss all sort of off-season training you're going to do. You're going to miss probably all of next season. Probably, depending on where the Pacers end up. I can't imagine he'll come back unless it's like pretty late and they have a shot. Um, but we'll see. And then it obviously sucks for us as the fans to watch because this could have been a classic game right here. This could have been one for the ages. With how Tyrese Haliburton looked even hurt early in the game, I think this would have been an awesome game. Sucks for Pacers teammates, Pacers fans, you know. Shout out to the Pacers because they have their huddle and they go right back to playing. And they held it together pretty well. This game was close all first half. They had the lead at half after an Andrew Nimhard crazy step back three that he loves to do on that left side. So I can't imagine seeing my best player, my leader, tear his Achilles. And the way he limped off, they immediately reported he wasn't going to come back, all that stuff. You know what happened, and you kind of, I don't know if you block it out. I don't know if you're like, I'm going to play for my teammate, um, so on and so forth. But shout out to them for keeping it together and rallying.
I wanted to ask, why do you think it? Because how obvious it was. We watched it happen.
Yeah,
Why do you think they are afraid to say it on the broadcast? They kept saying lower leg injury, he's not coming
yeah.
back. Lower leg injury, he's not coming back. Why don't they just say he tore his Achilles? I don't know. Do the people like
I
that's
think they
too
work for they
scary?
wait for like a doctoral confirmation or something.
Yeah, I
They
don't have to
they
be a
have to
doctor
do
to
the
see that, man.
X-rays and all that. Yeah, I mean you can see it. You can see it.
Yeah, it was,
Not that I'm
and
a doctor, but I've seen other players do
also like
Achilles.
nothing else would have done made the way it looked. And I anyone who wants to see
Look it
it
up.
more, I get well, I get very I
I don't
get
like.
sque
I don't
I
like.
get
Yeah, yeah,
squeamish
yeah.
around body stuff. So like if you don't want to, I would recommend looking it up. But
He is wearing a like white compression leggings, so it's not like you see anything bodily. You can just see the
you see it
movement of.
under the skin, and yeah, it's
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
um I do
And
want
they
to
showed the replay 17 times, so I got to see it plenty.
definitely 17 times. I do want to add to what you've been saying because you're still talking about like the first half.
Yeah,
I think this might have been the most emotional I got watching the game or a game in like recent memory.
yeah,
Um, I felt devastated, literally. Um, just because of everything you said, like everything the season led up to, the Pacers were not supposed to be here. They were not supposed to be in the NBA Finals. They're not supposed to take this Thunder to seven. Tyrese Haliburton was overrated. He was never going to lead a team to the finals. And he gets them there, and just like I'm getting emotional thinking about it. You know, it's
yeah.
just
One
um
more game.
seeing it live is just excruciating. And I have nothing but the most utmost respect for the Pacers, the organization, Tyrese. Like they handled that as well as any team could have in that situation because like it's the worst thing that could have happened, you know.
Yeah,
But there was still a game to play. So what happened in the second half?
yeah. Quickly before we pivot to that,
Oh yeah.
I have this thing I wrote here. In Street Clothes, I believe is the name of the company slash article. This guy that documents a bunch of injury things. We had 8 Achilles tears this season, which is the most in the last 10 seasons. What do we do? I don't know.
I
Shorten the season.
I have a couple I have two ideas. I think one of them is shortening the season. I
We
don't
talked
I
about it before.
Yeah, but I think one of the biggest things they don't talk a lot about this in basketball. They the training has changed a lot for basketball.
Mm,
It used to be a lot of strength conditioning.
hmm
They don't do that as much anymore. They do a lot more stretching. They do a lot more resistance training. They do, running's always been a part of it, but I think what's really missing is strength because these Achilles tears and stuff did not happen as much when the players were, and I only know this because I was watching The Last Dance, I watched Starting Five. As I'm not a workout guy by any means, but there's a lack of just focusing on just strength of the body and the
hmm
strength of your muscles. A lot more resistance training because they want you to be quicker, more limber. Like the game's different because back then you had to do strength training because your body's getting roughed up. You're going into the paint. You're getting hit around, and like you gotta like you're not gonna get fouls. And but now it's better if you're quicker or you are able to get around people. It's the
Yeah,
game's different, but I think. that is missing now. It needs to be put back into the regiment. Your body needs to be strong enough to handle all of this. And if your muscles are stronger, then your tendons are stronger. Everything is stronger. And yes, shorten the season by a tad. But I think
A
this is also
tad.
what's missing,
Yeah, I
honestly.
feel like that's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up because I would have never got there. I'm also not a workout guy. Um, I think, the issue with the season thing is, like we talked about with the broadcasting, we didn't really talk about it, but the reason that this happens is because money, right? That's why there's advertisements, branding, blah, blah, blah. That's why the season I don't think will be shortened anytime soon because less games means less money revenue from broadcasting them. So that makes sense. I think what people don't think about, though, the 82 number resonates in your head, right? Because that's long you know the season is. The playoffs were just 2 months after the 82 game season. These guys were still playing all the way to the finals until now. So, some of these guys played like 100 games. Like that's a lot. That's more than any other league I know. Baseball, you play 162 games. Half the time, you just fucking stand there and don't do anything. Okay.
Well, I was gonna say,
I'm not saying I can play baseball, but
well, I think what the NBA used to do. I'm sure you remember this. It used to be 5 game series.
I
You
do remember
know?
that. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
So it was shortened a little bit, and then they made it to 7 because money and ratings and
Yeah.
stuff. And like, but I think hockey still does 5 games and then 7 game series, like the last 2 rounds, or maybe it's all
Yes,
7 games.
you
Hockey
know,
is another, yeah.
yeah, the NBA did used to do game series in the first round.
Hmm.
And that's like the best round to do it because how often are we getting super competitive
Yeah.
first round series?
At least you get to 5. I mean, getting into a game 5 is, just as
Yeah.
tough as getting to game 7. So, um, yeah. So maybe that's another thing you look into, just like an older model. But again, it's like less games, less money. Who knows what can be done? But I think it also, yeah,
Basketball's just a lot more dynamic now.
yeah, exactly. And like your body, it's different parts of your body that haven't been before really used. So like what was working before was, and now they're like, oh, this is going to be better. And that's why, yeah, you watch the guys on the court and they're like doing rubber stuff with rubber bands and stuff. I'm like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
really not really helping your body as much as you think it is.
It's like you think about how the Pacers and Thunder play. They're flying this whole
Yeah.
series. Just
Hmm.
flying around the court in transition around screens. I mean, doing that for so many games, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Why don't you take the second half? I feel like I talked for
Okay.
a long time.
Yeah, no, no, you're good. Yeah. So second half, it was very interesting to see what would happen because Pacers really kept it competitive. Thunder didn't look like themselves for some reason the first half. It was really
J-Dub's
interesting.
invisible.
Literally, it was really interesting to see what each team would do coming in, and the Thunder delivered. They just were unrelenting on the defensive end of this. Chet Holmgren is a defensive monster. And I'll say it now. He now holds the record for the most blocks in a game 7 of the NBA Finals, with 5. It used to be Kevin Garnett in 2010, and then Marvin Webster in 1978 with 4. Funnily enough, I think it's funny that Kevin Garnett lost in that finals
Mm.
to the Lakers, but he still had the record. But yeah, with Chet on one side of the ball, and they also the second half they started Alex Caruso instead of
Hmm.
Isaiah Hartenstein, so it was a lot more of a quicker group, and Chet at the 5, and they were able to just hands were everywhere, transition points galore.
Turning them
Uh,
over like crazy.
Turnovers like crazy. TJ McConnell did everything he could. I think he was the only pacer to score in the third quarter for like an 8 minute stretch. He made like 12 straight points for the
He scored like
Pacers.
14, yeah.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
wild.
He's the only one that could really pull something. You really needed a Siakam game, and you
Hmm.
unfortunately did not. He ended the game with 16 points. The Thunder just did a really good job of he would have the ball, and there would be a Case and Wallace on him, and then right when he makes a move, someone would jump on him to double, and then he'd pass it out. So he basically couldn't do anything. On the other side, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander was playing like an MVP. He
Yeah.
uh, he ended up with I know he ended with 11 assists, and I think he had 29 points at the end of this game.
Playoff career high in assist, I think, for
Yeah.
Shea.
Yeah, and he had the 11 assists before he had like a lot of points. Like he was really
Yeah.
assisting the ball more in the beginning. And because of all those turnovers, the Thunder actually shot about 20 more attempts overall than the Pacers, which
Hmm.
is you can't win a basketball game that way.
You know what helps lower your turnovers? When you have a starting point guard that's really good at playmaking
Mm.
without
And
turning the ball over.
literally, and one of the best in the game of not turning the ball over and giving assists and everything. Yeah. And you really had to rely on a lot of Andrew Nimhart, who did his best, and TJ McConnell, who also did his best. Also wanted to shout out Benedict Mathurin because he's been hot and cold this series. He had a legendary game, 22 minutes off the bench, 27 points, game
Three, I
five,
think.
three. You're right, three. Sorry. And TJ McConnell couldn't play the whole time. When he was out, Benedict Mathurin would come in, and he was the one that was unrelenting.
Yeah.
Absolutely would not give up. Would get to the free throw line if like they weren't getting shots in. But the Thunder just kept making shots, and eventually it ballooned up to like 20 points by the end of the third quarter. About yeah, and it kind of stayed that way the whole time. The fourth quarter, there was a little bit of a comeback, like a little bit, but it never got closer than 10. I don't think they ever
Yeah.
got it right to double digits, maybe nine. But the Thunder, as soon as that happened, called timeout, and they would just immediately kick into gear, and they took care of business, and they ended up winning this game, and they ended up winning the NBA Finals, 2025 NBA Finals
In Oklahoma.
in Oklahoma City.
First
Crazy.
first time for Oklahoma. I believe the Sonics won in like 71 or something
The
once.
Sonics did win, yeah. So it's not perfect, but
Nope,
it's
71 was the Bucks. I don't know why I
it
remember
was
that,
not,
but
78. I'm pretty
okay.
sure something. I had it on the
It's a long
trivia
time
when I
ago.
asked you. Yeah, in the 70s. It was definitely the 70s. Shea ended up as the Finals MVP. He averaged 30.3 points, 4.6 rebounds, 5.6 assists, and 1.9 steals per game in this Finals. That's crazy. And he's also the fourth player in NBA history to win the scoring title, a championship, MVP, and finals MVP in the same season, joining names such as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Michael Jordan, and Shaquille O'Neal.
Those guys are
Crazy.
good at basketball,
Yeah, this was
huh?
a crazy run for the Thunder, and they absolutely deserve this. The Pacers did everything they could with some injury, misfortune. Maybe this is a different game, but here's the thing: the Thunder won 68 games. They made it to this spot. They earned it, and they really, cultivated that culture. They didn't just get a Kevin Durant, or they didn't just like get a superstar. They really
Mhm.
just focused on what was working and made it better. And I'm honestly like this offseason, they're just going to get better. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But, anyways, any last thoughts? Anything you want to mention about game seven?
Yeah, I mean, I thought, you know, all things considered, uh, still a fine game seven. Not an instant classic or anything with the injury, of course, but I enjoyed what I saw. I thought both teams came to play. And that's really all you can ask out of a game seven. Unfortunate that the injury kind of it seemed to derail the Pacers once they started turning the ball over in the second half. That's going to happen. So, not a lot you can do there. Yeah, big shout out to kind of what you said to Sam Presti. You know, at the beginning of the season, that he had a press conference where he said something along the lines of like, "Yeah, we're building this depth for because we know the regular season is long and rigorous, and we just want to make sure that we have the guys to sustain." They rested guys a lot, like Alex Caruso and stuff. Not necessarily rested, just we can be a 68 win team without 30 minutes a night of Alex Caruso. So when we need him in the playoffs, he'll be there. Um, didn't have Chet and Hartenstein for part of the year. Still managed to kind of coalesce. And honestly, what scares me the most, and we'll get into it, I'm sure. I don't think that Chet was great. I don't think that Jada, he had the one amazing game, but series wise, I don't think he was great. I think Ludort was fine. Casey Wallace had a pretty big game seven on the defensive side of the ball, especially. And then he made like two back-to-back threes. It was kind of a big pivotal point early on. Um, the scary part is they're so young. And I don't think that they were amazing. And they have more time to coalesce going forward. So this is going to be a scary team in the NBA for a while, I think.
Yeah, I did want to also just add to that. I wanted to Just shout out the Thunder for being good team players or having good sportsmanship
Yeah.
because I watched a little bit of like the finals like speeches and almost each of them mentioned the Pacers, which is a very mature thing to do and just say, Mark Dagnall came up and was like, I have to give a shout out to the Pacers because they pushed it to 7 and we respect them. They're such a great team and it was a great time just playing against them. And Shea did the same thing in his press conference. He said like they're a great team. Tyrese is a amazing player. They'll be back, and you don't have to do that. You can be cocky, you know?
Shay's such a like low key guy. It's so
Yeah,
weird.
but like none of them were cocky. I mean, they understood what happened, and I'm glad that they, even though they're young, they could have really been a bit more brash, but they weren't. They
Yeah, yeah,
just,
yeah.
so I really respect that from them. And same as the Pacers, it's nothing but respect between the two uh teams. Although it was a little bit weird. I don't know if you saw this. Before Game 7, the Thunder did have their open top buses for the parade with 2025 champions in the parking garage of
Ooh.
the stadium.
You gotta go in with the confidence, I guess.
Yeah, it was
Um,
there. Yeah, they asked Rick Carlisle mentioned in his interview. He said I walked in and there's like 5 buses that say Thunder 2025 NBA champions. And it's like going into the game. It's like that's actually crazy. Um, but that's okay.
they made that merch in game one, so
No, yeah, they
they had to
always
use it
do.
even if they lost.
Yeah. Well, okay, so where do you rank these finals? What do you think?
Yeah, I was thinking about this earlier. So for me, if I could think about the last 10 years, for example, I would say 2021's Bucks and Suns. I really enjoyed that series. Suns up 2-0, Bucks come back to win 4 in a row. Giannis has a great game 6, 50 points, like 17 of 19 from the line. Something crazy. And the free throw thing had been like a thing all season for him with people counting and stuff. The Drew
And
Holiday
you
lob was
That's
awesome.
exactly what I was about to say. The lob, dude. The lob at the end of the game was
The lob
crazy.
was so awesome.
Dude, like a minute left. You're up by like 2 or 4. Just doing the lob is crazy.
I have a little bit of a personal liking of Raptors Warriors in 2019 because it was like the end of the KD Warriors kind of. Um, and me as a neutral basketball fan was just tired of that team.
Yeah.
So that was cool to see Kawhi get one as like the guy and the Raptors and all those guys. That was fun. 2016, again, LeBron come back, 3-1 come back. Game 7 was awesome. The rest of the series is actually not that great if you go back and look at the game logs. Like kind of not a lot of close games. But this series, I think game 2 was kind of a dud. Thunder kind of wiped the floor at them game 2.
Yeah.
They were up like 15 the whole game basically. Game 6 was a blowout for the Pacers, but it was kind of a fun blowout at the very least. And then I think game 1 was really great. Haliburton game winner. Um, Game 3 and 4, I think they were both nice as well, from what I remember. And then game 4, the Pacers blew the lead to the Thunder. Game
Game 5 was
5,
just a blowout by the
eh,
Thunder.
yeah,
Yeah.
game 5 was not great. And then game 7, despite the injury and all that, I still think it was a good game. So it's probably in the top 3 in the last 10 years. And then if you go older than that, it becomes hard for young Damon to remember. Um,
Yeah, I
so,
I was I agree with everything you said. I would also, for me personally, I would have the Lakers as like number 4 or 5. But what takes away a lot of that is I think the Heat run to the finals was pretty crazy. I mean,
mhm.
also with the Nuggets
But the
too.
series was a little underwhelming.
It was underwhelming, and mostly the games were actually really good and close and competitive, but mostly because there's no fans.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it
yeah.
really suffered from that. But I
The
still
Bubba,
really enjoy watching that series and um, just
J
how
the Lakers versus Jimmy Butler.
actually like the just I'll never forget watching Jimmy Butler carrying the Heat on. He was just exhausted, like when he was just breathing heavily and like
Over the
yeah, or
thing, yeah,
like things
yeah.
like that. Like some things on just like him and LeBron
That's
trading
fair.
buckets down the stretch. It's like,
His
but
his playoff run was awesome for sure.
yeah, but I think that's like a 4 or 5,
Yeah,
for me. But yeah, the Raptors was crazy because also the Toronto Raptors won a
yeah, yeah,
championship,
yeah.
which is just crazy to say. Yeah, Cavaliers and this too, definitely. are are up there. Just entertaining and two teams that really had to battle it out to the very end. And I cannot ask more from an NBA game or NBA Finals.
Yeah. Two awesome teams, two awesome crowds.
And
Um,
all, yeah, also sorry, it was also unexpected. Like some of the reason why like the Warriors Celtics was fun is just because it's like okay, these teams are good. So of course
those
they,
are
you
like
know what I
two
mean?
of my
Yeah.
least favorite teams in the NBA too. So I was like,
Yeah, it was
whatever.
like okay. And then it was really cool to see Dallas make it, but they just weren't able to put up a fight against Boston.
No,
So it was like
no, bad series.
um yeah, so like this was the first time like you did not expect the Pacers to make it. Thunder were heavy favorites, but they almost biffed it a couple times too with the
Yeah,
Nuggets and going all the way to seven and and losing game one, in the finals is like pretty crazy. So yeah, pretty legendary.
yeah, yeah. What's next for the Indiana Pacers?
God, I don't, do you just try to
I guess we kind of already talked about the Thunder, so I don't really need to get
Yeah,
into
do you
that.
just kind
But
of coast? I mean, you wait for Tyrese to get a little bit better. You try to just bring in reinforcements so you're able to maybe be competitive next year, but you want
Miles
him, you
Turner's
don't,
a free agent, I think.
I think he's back. I
He's
really
a he's
do.
a, he's a lifetime Pacer now, right?
I think
After
so.
after 6 years of being in trade rumors, he's like
I really do think he's a
gonna keep him
lifetime
around.
Pacer. Yeah, because I mean, they finally went all the way to the finals. Like, you can't blame anyone, really. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you can blame someone for leaving or trades or, a multitude of reasons. But really, there's no one to blame. It was just a very good team they went up against, and it wasn't
Yeah,
their year. And I think, obviously, like, I think they need to address the center situation. Isaiah Jackson, please come back. This need to have some kind of backup. Um,
yeah. Sorry, Tony Bradley. We don't see you in our finals runs in the future.
yeah, sorry. Hey, legend for
Signed
playing
a
in the
10-day
finals.
contract in like March or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, but
Crazy.
legend for the finals, but just not gonna cut it. But I think that's what I probably think they'll try to they still have Pascal Siakam, they got Miles Turner, they got Andrew Nimhard, they got Neesmith. They'll probably work a lot on the offense was Haliburton was so much the machine, the
Yeah,
engine of this that they're going to try to switch things a little bit around. I'm
how to
sure they'll still be
function
very
without him.
good. Yeah, I'm sure they'll still be good, you know. But I don't think they're going to try to like pray for a superstar or
Yeah, yeah.
anything. I think they figured out what worked, and they'll.
Continuity, baby.
Yeah.
Marching to the finals.
What do you think? Anything else?
No, I mean I agree. I think, with the Haliburton injury happening, it'll be really tough. We'll see how they look next season without him for a majority, if not all of the season.
Hmm.
Um, could be a down year just overall for their team, and then maybe they bounce back in the season after that. Um, so with that happening, the East looks wide open right again. I mean, I guess it kind of already was wide open. Now the Pacers and Celtics will be without their
Yeah,
best players. So
it's
Cavs,
super
Knicks, Bucks, whoever,
Magic.
Sixers,
Magic.
Magic, the Desmond Bain Magic. Yeah, well,
Sixers making a come back from the grave. I don't know. We'll see. Interesting.
Podcast P. Um,
Yeah. Well, oh, I do. Okay. If what do you think is next for the Thunder? I mean, so we know they're very good. They're very young, but what do you think? What do they do next season? What do they do in the off season?
I don't know well, if they have to do anything. I know they still have a bunch of assets. They still have a bunch of young guys, a bunch of picks, a bunch of stuff that they don't need, um, just sitting around. So, they got to get their guys in their contract. What does their books look like? No idea. I don't know. They just signed Hardenstein. They just traded for Caruso. I don't know how long he had on his deal. I don't know if they need to extend him. Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wiggins, we talked about those extensions last year. Shea is probably already making the supermax. If he wasn't, he will. J-Dub will probably eventually get a max. Chet will also have to be paid. So eventually they'll have to pay those
But
guys.
that's a while though. I know Chet's going to
Yeah.
be another like 3 years at least or four or something like that. I have something I think they need to do.
Let's hear it.
They need to get one shooter, one
Mm.
true shooter. Because
They have
only
Isaiah Joe. He doesn't fit into the defensive
I
thing, I
know.
think. So
I think they
he
need
needs
to
to play
get
down.
someone that's a bit more experienced. I agree that they have Isaiah Joe, even Aaron Wiggins. Like they have these specialists. Just need to get someone there. I would say like a KCP, but it's that's not his year. He's done. He's it's not. He's not that guy. But I mean, I don't think we mentioned it. They only had three pointers made in which game? Do you remember?
It was
And they
game
won. They won.
4. Yeah,
Yeah, it
it was
was one of the,
4.
but they
They
won the
only had like
game.
four threes in like 3 quarters in this game, so
Yeah, so I'm just saying that that needs to be addressed, and that is
that's
the
fair. That's
only
fair.
thing that needs to be addressed. And I'm not saying go out and like get a sharpshooter and give up Aaron Wiggins and Isaiah Joe and everything. No, no, no. If anything, you stand pat. But if you're able to afford just someone who can really shoot the three very well,
I
like
mean, you could
a
probably live giving up. Like, I'm going to use this player as an example because he fits the archetype, but I don't think this team is going to give him up,
yeah,
and he makes way too much money. Um, but if you gave up like an Aaron Wiggins and Nikola Topic, who was sitting on your bench, number 12th pick last year, um, torn something is going in this year. That's why he didn't play. And a bunch of picks for like an OG Anunoby, who's defensive and a 3-point guy,
yeah.
that fits right into your system. Yeah, that'll be scary. Because I think Case and Wallace, Lou Dort, those guys, they're more on the D side than the 3 side. So, and
And
if you
which
can
is
get somebody that's really good
yeah,
at both, great.
yeah. Actually, the first name I thought of just now is Cameron Johnson.
Yeah, is he that good of a defender? He's a
Yeah,
great shooter.
I don't think he's that good of a defender, but I think he's a great shooter, and that's enough because they have so much defense. Like, and again, like I don't think I would do that deal if they don't give up, too
Sure,
much.
sure,
But
sure.
anyways, that's just me just thinking of like who would be
No,
available
yeah, I'm sure the
and
Nets would
stuff.
love some random picks that OKC has sitting around.
Literally,
So,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like someone who's kind of like not desperate, but like could definitely use some picks.
yeah, yeah.
Um, you know what's crazy? We just talked about the NBA Finals. So much happened, some trades. It's not it. We got the draft in 2 days. We got the draft.
The NBA never stops going.
Do you know? I mean, I'm sure you know a little bit about the draft. Can you tell me a little? I only know Cooper Flag, and he's going number one.
Sure. Yeah, so Cooper Flag's going to go number 1 to the Mavericks. Dylan Harper is probably going number 2 to the Spurs. Doesn't look like they're going to move those picks. He's kind of a big guard. Um, they have Castle and Chris Paul, but that's about it. So I guess he could maybe play somewhere back there. Um, and then after that's a mystery. Ace Bailey coming into this was the number 3 prospect. He has refused to work out for any team. Why? I'm not sure.
Why?
I think the idea is he wants to go somewhere specific. He wants to avoid certain teams. Um, so he maybe wants to fall a little bit to get to said specific team. What team that is, I don't know. Um, but it's kind of a mystery now at 3. You got guys like VJ Edgecombe from Baylor who's looked real good, that could go at 3 as well. There's a couple of guys that I've done a little looking. I can't. I'm not going to pretend like I'm a scout. I'm not watching hours and hours of game tape on these prospects. But there's a couple guys. Jeremiah Fears, cool name first of all.
Such a cool
Um,
name.
I think I'm trying to remember. Oklahoma maybe is where he's from, or what college he went to. He looks really cool. He's like a kind of a. I mean, he's like a fierce point guard. You know, I love me some fierce point guards. So. Um, I'm excited about him. Derek, you should look up. I think you'll get a kick out of this guy, Derek Queen, out of Maryland. He looks like he's 12, but he's like a 6'9" stretch center or something.
Oh,
It's
okay. I'll definitely check him
it's
out.
he's also kind of big, so he's real interesting looking. He's supposed to be a first round talent. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of guys. I think after 2, the draft basically becomes a mystery. There's a lot of talks about trades, but I feel like they never actually happen. Um, So we'll have to see on draft night. Do the Sixers move pick 3? That's kind of the first big moment in the draft, right? And try to get a piece. We already moved our pick. The Rockets pick 10. Um, so yeah, we'll see.
I wanted to mention this because I remembered seeing this somewhere. There's a Lithuanian in the draft.
Yes, I did know that. I don't remember his name,
Yes,
but
I looked it up. Kasparis Yakuchonis.
yeah, I was never going to say that.
Yeah, that's why we have the resident Lithuanian. So I'm very intrigued to see where he's going to end up.
there's a guy with the crazy names like Con Knuppel.
Sick
Uh,
name. It sounds like a 2K generated. I feel like the longer
I
time
probably
goes
butchered it.
on, the longer time goes on, the more these 2K names or these names just feel like 2K generated names. Um, but yeah, okay, cool. Well, thank you for that. I will probably do research after the draft of like these players, see what they're gonna do. What?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Okay. You're like, I thought you made a face because like he's gonna do research after the draft. What the?
No, I was looking up Knuppel. I
Oh,
don't know how to
okay.
say it. It's his last name is Knueppel. Come
Sick.
on, give me a
I
chance.
have no ch I have no chance. But yeah, very cool.
Last thing, one more.
One more
The
thing.
longest podcast of all time. Okay, starting five, season two. This NBA season that just happened, they covered SGA, who we just went over all the accolades that he got. Halliburton, who just brought the Pacers to a finals, terrible injury. Kevin Durant, who just got traded to my Houston Rockets and had a good season for Kevin Durant, bad season for the Suns. James Harden, say what you will, made his first All NBA team in like 5 years. So it's a good season for him and the Clippers.
Undeserved, but it's okay.
New, true. New arena as well. You get to see like
Yeah.
maybe some behind the scenes there. And then Jaylen Brown, another Celtic. That's whatever. Um, the problem with this is I remember the last season came out like 2 weeks before the new NBA season started, and by then I feel like people won't care. But if you release this in like August, mid-July, people would probably really care because there's nothing basketball going on, so they could actually kind of dive into it. Um, that's a good roster. Excited to see
Yeah.
what they have for season three.
They like keep picking one of them as an NBA champion, which is crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess the odds
they
are pretty
know
high. Yeah, oh, it's rigged. It's rigged. That's how they know.
it's
No,
rigged.
yeah, but no, I when in season two is out, don't worry, we will let you know, and I will be watching it once it's
Yeah,
out.
I still never
It
watched season one, but maybe one day.
it's very interesting, especially just learning about behind the scenes stuff. Um,
No
and
Lithuanian this time, huh?
But
Tough.
what the heck? Modest Kuzales or Valanciunas? Come on. I will say this too. What was interesting about it is like you kind of find out how some NBA players are just not interesting at all.
Jason
Um,
Tatum.
yeah.
Is that who you're talking
Yeah.
about?
And it's I like him as a player. I think he's a very good NBA player. I have nothing against him at all. But gosh, like when his clips would come, like it was him, and he was just like, yeah. So I go to the gym. I was like, oh, my son's with me. Let's go. Ah,
Why did you name your
okay.
son
And then
Deuce?
yeah, and then like LeBron's like watching Beetlejuice and like having this crazy Halloween party, and I'm just like, it's just like okay, he's living his crazy life as like a crazy life, you know. Then Anthony Edwards is at least like he is some like personality. He had a child during the season, so that was like something. Jimmy Butler was dealing with the loss of his father. You like, get to know him, and then he passes away, and like he's trying to do music stuff. This is the emo. He's like I'm Jimmy Butler. I'm emo. That's that. Sabonis is like, oh, let me learn about this guy because like no one really like NBA fans like us know him, but really not a lot of people know about him. And like it's super interesting. He comes from a basketball family. You find all that out. From Jason Tatum's like, yeah, I like basketball.
How to
Like
tie a shoe.
this is how you tie a tie.
This is how you tie a tie.
Yeah, and no, hey, I mean, get well soon, Jason Tatum. Anyways, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. But yeah, super excited for season two. What a great NBA season. One of the better ones with like the end has everything like all wrapped up. And we had crazy trades this year. We had crazy game winners in the playoffs and during the year. So see this season has been a very, very good one, I have to
Awesome.
say.
Awesome
Yeah,
season.
it's been an
Yeah, yeah,
awesome
yeah.
season. Definitely.
Good job, Adam Silver. We know it was you.
Thank you for
Yeah,
orchestrating everything and rigging
next
everything, just like
time we'll talk about the NBA draft, what happened, where people went, anything interesting that occurs on draft night. I'm sure some more free agency stuff will have occurred by the time we pod again in a week or so. Um, and then we're getting into the off season. And the off season starts, but we don't stop. We start bringing you our very interesting off season content,
I got some fun ideas planned. So can't
such
wait for
as
that.
jersey rankings.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait. Come on, City Jersey. I can't wait to rip you all apart. Come on, give me, give me. No, yeah, we're gonna have so much to talk about, and I can't wait. I'm
Yes,
gonna
sir.
take the shot. Yes,
Yes,
sirs. Yes,
sirs.
sirs. All
One
right,
more
that was
time
a
for the
one more
yes,
time.
sirs. Ah.
Nothing but rim. So yeah, so I just want to thank everyone for listening to us all season. If you did or just joined us, we really appreciate it, and we're really excited for the this off season, this next season, and to continue doing this for a long time, for the foreseeable future. So from everyone here, just want to say thank you for listening. This is Two Man Game with Damon and Dom.
Buckets.